Many years ago, there was a cement company that had this slogan on the sides of their trucks: find a need and fill it. They wanted to fill the voids in people's concrete sidewalks and foundations. They wanted to repair the cracks and all the openings and things. And that's an excellent model for us Christians to follow as well. Not in terms of filling voids in people's concrete, but to fill the voids and to repair cracks in their lives. Everyone has always had needs, but the level of needs has been exacerbated because of this unprecedented pandemic with all of its fears and all of its restrictions. And when you think back to 2019, how often did we talk about buying toilet paper? Here in 2021, how much do we miss seeing each other, not just online, but face to face? When's the last time that you got to hug a friend or pat someone on the back? When's the last time you sat down face to face over a cup of coffee or over a meal? Now, perhaps the introverts among us are managing pretty well, but many of those who are extroverts are probably struggling. There are definitely needs out there, but we may not be aware of them. And even at church, we created a form for those who have been physical or spiritual needs, and we'll try to find ways to help people meet them. And yet, even with this form, very few people have taken advantage of it. My fear is that many people are suffering in silence. Perhaps they lost income, or worse yet, a loved one, and they have no one to walk alongside them. Perhaps they're isolated, whether they're actually physically by themselves or they're isolated even though they're stuck in the same space with the same people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe they lack the technological savvy to connect with others outside of their home. How they long to have someone with a listening ear, or a shoulder that they could lean on, or some wisdom to guide them, or some encouragement to know that they matter somehow, somewhere, and to someone. We need to find a need and fill it. Taken from another perspective, you might feel this way too, because you maybe yearn for someone to reach out to you. So since you are personally aware of the struggle of being alone, I encourage you to reach out to someone. And perhaps each of you can be filled as you meet each other's needs. You would know the questions to ask. You would know the kind of hints that people will make because you have those same feelings within yourself. And so you can listen more astutely as you talk with others. Now, whether you feel okay right now or whether you do feel needy, I encourage you to meditate on 1 John 3:16 through 18. This passage says, "By this we know love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." I'd like to share with you 4 quick observations about filling needs in people's lives. The first observation is that Jesus exemplified what it means to give of ourselves for others. That's verse 16. It says that he, that is Jesus, laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. Jesus took the initiative. He came down to earth even though he was not invited. He gave even though people misunderstood and misinterpreted his actions and his motives. He sacrificed even at the cost of his own life. And he gave and served as the needs arose. We often read where Jesus was on his way to heal somebody, and he ends up healing other people along the way. He met the needs that came, as they presented themselves to him. The second observation is that helping is a heart issue. In verse 17, it says here that if anyone has the world's goods, and listen closely to this, and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? This part about closing his heart He's aware of the needs, so it's not like he's unaware of the need, but he sees someone in need, and he has the ability to meet that need, yet he closes his heart. We are not to be unsympathetic and uncaring. Rather, we are to be aware and open. And just as Jesus' heart was moved toward those whom he helped, we too need to be moved toward those who are around us as well. Helping others is not an issue of checking off boxes to say, I did this good deed. Helping others is honoring the image of God within each person, recognizing the struggles that they're going through and doing something because they are valuable people. A third observation is that we can do something to help others. Verse 17 again begins, if anyone has the world's goods. Now, we may complain a lot about the high cost of living in San Jose, and it is expensive. It's one of the most expensive places in all of the country. And many of us may feel that we are just getting by, but by comparison to others, we're still doing very well. We can still find ways to share God's blessings with others, even if we are struggling ourselves. It may be something as simple as treating someone to a meal, helping them with a little gift, maybe finding some spare clothing that we don't need but someone else can use, or some things that are laying around the house that normally would get in our way but could be of assistance to someone else. We can find things that we can do to give to others. The fourth observation is in verse 18. Our love must be visible. It says, little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. You may have heard the phrase, talk is cheap. We can all talk and talk and talk and talk and do nothing. We may feel good that we've discussed something, but in the end we have still done nothing. I used to joke about the weather over in the Central Valley of California, namely in Sacramento. As we all know, that Sacramento and that area there, the temperature is much warmer than it is out here on the coast or in the Bay Area. I would also joke that Sacramento is so hot because that's where all the politicians are. And all they do is just talk and talk and talk and talk. And there's nothing done. Now, that's poking fun at the politicians, but the reality is the same can be said about us here in the church. If all we do is talk and talk and talk and talk, and nothing ever gets done, we are no better. In James chapter 2, verse 26, we're reminded that faith without works is dead. Let's put our faith into action. I challenge you to take some time, take even just a few minutes, open up your phone book and call somebody, or at least write an email to somebody that you don't normally talk to, and just reach out to them. See how they're doing. See if there's a need. And when you find a need, then fill it.